Guys, thanks for coming along and welcome to all the people who've never met us before. It's been a whirlwind last 2 weeks for us. And it all sort of launched with Roxy and myself having the idea to go back to Rhythmia and sit with ayahuasca in October last year. And going back to Costa Rica after 4 years or five? Four years. It seemed like our life was completely different. I don't know, for those of you who've ever been through big shifts in your life, if you ever sort of think back at the past or look at photos, you think, my gosh, it was a different life. That's really what it felt like for us. Different life. Oh my goodness. Let's see what it's like going back and sitting with Mother Ayahuasca, traveling to Costa Rica. Let's see what it's like now after we've gone through so much change. And I'll get into that as we go through this class today about, well, why'd you go back? Because a lot of people have asked me that. But for us, the idea came almost as like an inspiration, a chat, where it's like, maybe we should film it. Maybe, yeah, that could be a good idea. We'll make a movie out of it. I'm not telling it like that was great plans. This is how that movie came about. It was like, we're already going. And we just thought, oh, I wonder what would happen if we filmed it and gave people a bit of an insight into it, how it's affected us. So ayahuasca and Source for the Soul was the creation that came from that, let's call it a little bit of divine inspiration. And we attempted to share more. A lot of people know a lot about our story, a lot of the healing that we've gone through. And we've done our best to share our lessons and to share our healings with people and being quite vulnerable and open about, our issues. And we often joke about that. It's like, hands up anyone who's got issues, and anyone who doesn't put their hands up's got an issue, right? So it's called denial. But we've all got issues. So we've just done our best to, as best we can, just share that with people. And that perhaps that's how a lot of you found out about this call today, or even, I know that some people randomly just clicked on it on social media or whatever. But that movie came about from that travel in October last year. And this class today is sharing the information from that in a bit of an information session, because we're going back to Costa Rica in October of this year. And if someone had have asked me, are you going to go back and do ayahuasca in October last year? I would have said, no way, that's enough. I'll be right for a while. But we've had so much encouragement from people, so many people saying, oh, I'd love to know if you'd ever go back. Oh, I'd love to come with you. And as a result of that, we thought, well, we could go back. I mean, I find it absolutely wonderful to connect with Source and to the divine and to learn more about myself. And I feel like I would love to hold space with like-minded people. So in the class today, we're going to be talking more about that, the ayahuasca ceremony, the experience. We'll touch on how this has affected Roxy and myself through our life. As I mentioned, it's like a whole new life, a completely different timeline, but we'll also give you some real practical information behind the scenes, just from a couple who've been there twice. We are by no means experts on all of this. We're just going to, like we always do, share authentically our story with you, do our best to answer the questions, and take it from there and see how we go. And we've got more and more people flowing in, but we're going to keep rolling along with this today because we've got a lot to cover. So what we're attempting to do this year, Roxy and myself, is to take this medicine to, let's say, the rest of the world. It's something that has been a sacred tradition for thousands of years throughout South America. And more people now are starting to hear about ayahuasca and the word, just getting thrown around in day-to-day life. And this is where it's time to have a little bit of fun. If you could give me a thumbs up or a little emoji symbol in the chats if you've known of ayahuasca before you came across us, or you've always been interested in it, I'd love to know. And there we go. People are firing that away. Like 4 years ago, I didn't even know what it was. My brother said, I'm going to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca. And I said, what on earth is that? I actually had never even heard the word before. I'd heard of mushrooms in terms of psychedelics, and maybe I'm going to show my age here. Pretty much, I heard people who did acid, saw weird things, and I was never interested in that. Didn't like the sound of that one. And I was really new to the whole thing. So I researched quite a lot before ever really sitting through a ceremony myself. But I found what helped me the most in preparing Roxy and myself for our first ever plant medicine ceremony was actually the advice and guidance from my younger brother, Dan, who had gone a few months before me. Someone who had actually been there, gone through the ceremony, helped me so much to prepare. And that's what Roxy and I are going to attempt to be for you guys who might be interested in doing this. Just that familiar face, someone that you can ask questions of and sort of be there with you if you ever decide to go through this experience. So this was wonderful. Roxy and I are getting the ayahuasca movie out there to the world, and for us, quite surreal. I'd actually never been to New York before, so there was so much going on, let alone my face going up on Times Square. Very, very interesting thing to take in, and we really enjoyed our trip to New York. Beautiful, beautiful. And as we bring this medicine and this healing to the world, I reflect on the people that I had conversations with just, a few months ago in October at the end of last year, why they went and sat through an ayahuasca ceremony. I am around healing and information now day to day. This is my life. Like reflecting on myself, my emotions, my mood, my feelings, being aware of how the solar flares affect me, being aware if I have a crazy dream, like pretty much everything. If I have a flat tire, I'm looking into what goes on there within me and etc., what gets triggered. It's like I'm constantly reflecting, reviewing. So when I got around a group of people who were at an ayahuasca ceremony, a few for curiosity, but most because they wanted to heal. Maybe they wanted to just heal in a bigger picture to do with finding for more fulfillment, more happiness, more connection in their life, small percentage of them. But most people I found that were there at the ceremony, they had real things going on in their life. They tried lots of different methods, and they decided to do ayahuasca for their anxiety, for their insomnia, for their various addictions, for their issues with their physical health, for their issues in their relationships, for their issues with their business, etc., etc. I was surprised how many people that were there really going, I'm here because I've got pretty serious things that they wanted answers for. And I'm really happy to share that the group that Roxy and I went with recently became like family. Like we're friends with these people still, we're talking to them. It's a beautiful experience to have together. And we wanted to share with you a little about the ceremony experience now. So perhaps you can reflect for you, Rox.
So the image on the right here is night 4, okay, at Rhythmia. So we do 4 nights in a row on the plant medicine. So night 4 is an all-nighter, and you think, how am I going to drink medicine all night? But this was a wedding blessing for us, the shaman gave to us the very first time we went to Rhythmia. And at this point of the morning, you're pretty vulnerable. Pete and I were both seeing palladium blue energy moving through our being with our eyes shut while he was doing the blessing. And it was like this remembrance of our star family connection. And you guys, this was before we'd connected to the Palladians. So this was pretty much the catalyst that tied everything together of the first 4 nights of ever doing plant medicine. And you can see out the window, there is the sun coming up because we drink medicine literally all night. So we have a beautiful ceremony on night 4 in the morning. And it's very powerful. It's powerful doing the yahe on the last night. So what is medicine? Medicine is like a liquid, and we drink it and we take it into our body. And the medicine will take about half an hour to an hour to kick in if you're having the effects of it. So sometimes people don't have the effects of it, and they need another glass, another cup. And the amount that you're getting is like a shot glass. Okay, so it's like a little shot glass and you're taking it in. And when you go up at the start of the ceremony to the shamans, you set an intention into the medicine. And then you take the medicine and go back to your mat or your mattress. Where we go at Rhythmia, there is a beautiful mattress, a single mattress with a nice comfy blanket and pillow, and it's like you're on a cloud. And that's why we like going there, because it's comfortable. Okay. But you can explain what the DMT activation, how it works.
So when Roxy mentions the word yahe, it's a little bit like having a cup of coffee, and there's lots of types of coffee, you know, Brazilian roast, Colombian roast, Kenyan roast. Okay. So yahe is one of the roasts, and it's the one that they give you on night 4. And it's for the deep healing after you've gone through a lot of the set intentions that they take you through on the first 3 nights. The interesting thing about these brews is the ayahuasca vine itself isn't exactly the active ingredient. They mix the chacruna leaf, which is the DMT activator, with the ayahuasca vine. And that brew together in our stomach actually allows our body to be able to process the DMT, much of which is already present in our system, in our spinal cord, in and around our pineal gland and other organs within the body. But through having this brew, which is an amazing mix, and I won't go right into it, but those 2 plants in particular, the ayahuasca vine and the chacruna, don't grow next to one another. It's actually hundreds of kilometers apart, and somehow the shamans worked out to mix the 2 together. Talk about some divine inspiration. And these sacred medicine journeys have been used for thousands and thousands of years. So once you drink it into your stomach and you have the chacruna leaf and the ayahuasca vine mixed in together, it allows our body to be able to synthesize the DMT, and we get these amazing experiences. Experiences that are beyond just what I would call a psychedelic experience. They are very profound and healing and teaching and guiding, rather than just seeing psychedelics and having a heck of a journey, which I'm sure is, you know, amazing for a lot of people to actually have that understanding that there's more outside what we just experience in day-to-day life. Having the personalized guidance from Mother Ayahuasca is, for me, what makes this so special. It's not generic. Everyone has their own individual experience, which is just so beautiful. And ayahuasca is actually very safe. The literature, the research, the information online talks about really almost no major incidents for people who have had ayahuasca, but a lot of people talk about discomfort if they don't do ayahuasca in the correct way. And we'll expand on what that means as we go through the presentation. But by the right way, meaning this is not some party thing. This is not something that you would just do for, how would I word it, quote, fun. There's nothing particularly fun about doing ayahuasca. Like I've done it a few times, and I can tell you what, if I was having to walk up right now and receive that glass, you get the butterflies, because you never know exactly what you're going to get. It's going to be profound, but you treat it with a lot of reverence and respect. And preparing in the right way helps to ensure that the experience that you have is not only profound and beautiful, but also more likely to be somewhat pleasant and to flow. So there's things you can do to ensure that when you go into this ayahuasca experience, it's profound, enlightening, but also you can navigate it correctly.
Mm.
You click the next one.
And it's important to prepare for a journey. Sometimes we hear funny stories, or not really funny stories, but where people come up to me at the recent conference that we're at, and they said, yeah, I've tried ayahuasca, but it was a spontaneous like thing that we did in the afternoon, and I hadn't prepared, and I had a really bad time. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for this, because you have to really prepare. The medicine, almost like you're all here to hear the medicine. The energy is already working with you. It's very powerful. It's energy that will come and find you when the time's right and when you're getting called. And it's not to be, overlooked and disregarded, because it's a very sacred energy that you're working with. So it's important to prepare, and we'll show you how you can prepare. And we prepared up to 3 months before going to Costa Rica the very first time, because your body has to be ready for it, and you have to be clear-minded to receive these knowings and these healings, because it's such deep work.
So when the medicine is giving you the guidance, helping you to clear the issues, understand them, they're still there, but they're not locked away in the dungeon. You know, that sort of feeling how sometimes might have something about your past or your life, and it's like something you don't never go near. It's sort of down in the dungeon, and you hope that it'll never come up and these issues will never arise. Well, Mother Ayahuasca often guides us to be able to unlock those things that might be stored down in the dungeon. And she does this through one of 4 ways to help us to clear. They can be through a visual psychedelic type experience called the Pinta. It can be like a consultant, and the consulta is where she speaks to you, and it's like a conversation going on in your head. And it's amazing when it happens. You can ask all sorts of questions, get all sorts of answers. There's the body cleansing, where people can have the shakes, the yawns, the sweats, cramping, all of which I've had. And then sometimes people have a nada. And a nada is where they go into the ceremony and they feel the medicine come on and start to work. And then they might actually fall asleep and sleep for a long period of time. And when they wake up, they don't remember anything. They just feel like they've had a shift, they've had some clearing. And there was part of me hoping the first time I did this that I could just have a nada, because I thought, I like the sound of that one. It's like, I'll just let you do what you're doing down there, Mother, and leave me alone and wake me in the morning when it's all over.
I'd be stoked to get a nada.
I've never had a nada, and I don't know very many people who have.
Well, no, we had a lady last time that came with us to Rhythmia that she had a nada.
One nada.
One
yeah.
nada. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you go through drinking the medicine, often the most challenging thing in the beginning is just learning how to let the medicine do its thing, because so many of us have a craving to hang on to control. You know, we like to control things, control situations. And I'm sure a lot of you'd smile if you know someone like this, or you yourself. It's like someone who, well, beyond a control freak, they probably, wouldn't like to have too many drinks in case they embarrass themselves, or wouldn't like to do something spontaneous unless they're disappointed, or even the sort of person who might never actually order something different off the menu in case they're disappointed. They always order the same thing. They always go to the same place on holiday. They always do things in a certain ritual or a certain way. They love to hold on to control. That is the first challenge that Mother Ayahuasca has to deal with, and you've got to deal with when you're taking the medicine. Now, Roxy and I have learned how to just drink the medicine, go back to the mattress, just lie there and just surrender and let it take its natural course. However, in the beginning, we tried to hang on. So a lot of the guidance in Rhythmia is in and around, don't think, just drink. right? It's like, just walk up there, drink your medicine, don't think about it too much, go lie down, chill out, let mother do her thing, okay? And they've set through powerful intentions to help this to flow. And so a lot of people have asked me, why the heck do you go all the way to Costa Rica to do plant medicine? You could do it somewhere else. In fact, why the heck do you go to Rhythmia in particular? There are other places you could go to. And what I found through speaking to a lot of people who have done ayahuasca and had varying experiences is that they didn't get their intentions right. So they didn't get as much out of the experience as they could have if they had zeroed in and learnt more about the power of intentions. So we're going to share with you the intentions that they give us in Rhythmia, which we've found beautiful. And we recommend, and everyone gets guided through this in like education classes. So when you go to Rhythmia, you get educated while you're there on, in a group setting, how to navigate a plant medicine journey. It's like a class, which I just find brilliant, first of all, because you learn about like what I'm talking about, not trying to hold on to control, not trying to resist. It's like sometimes people hang on and fight the medicine all night long. And if you're fighting the medicine and not allowing it to have its effects, then, you know, Mother Ayahuasca can give a person a more difficult time than need be if the person just surrendered to see the lesson. Which lesson? Well, intention number one, show me who I've become. Now, show me who I've become. I thought, I can handle that. I reckon I could handle that. But when I got shown who I'd become, I cried, not in shame, but in sadness on how hard I actually was on myself. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize how I was living my life, and I was actually my own worst enemy. I had way more potential, way more happiness, way more love that I could shine out to the world. However, I had guilt and shame and blame. I'm getting chills as I'm saying this to you guys right now. Like, I had all these emotions in me from, and many of you would know my story, but a lot of it, Mother Ayahuasca showed me, came into my, like, affected my soul as soon as I went into my mother's womb. And my soul went into that solid form, and I started picking up on the emotions of my mother and father. You know, I'm the firstborn in the family. And if you do a bit of creative math, you'll work out that mum and dad did the shotgun wedding, and I was a surprise. I mean, mum and dad are beautiful. I wasn't a mistake. I was a surprise, but that word makes a big difference, right? But I picked up on the energy and the emotion of all of this right from the beginning. Like, so talk about show me who I've become. That was in my timeline all the way through. And then for those of you that know what happened to me around 5, with me taking my sister down to the creek and her falling off the bridge and drowning, and then I need to go home and tell my mum that my little sister's drowned. It's like, oof, no wonder what I had become was damaged. So Mother Ayahuasca showed me that. Luckily, I wasn't a badass. Let's just word it like that. Like, I'm pretty comfortable to be able to share with you guys. Go to the next slide for me. I didn't have a lot of stuff, so to speak, where I had been, let's say, mean, deceitful, cheat, lie, steal, that sort of stuff to be shown. But I could tell that there were some people in the room who were having a really hard time being shown who they had become. Right? It's like quite brutal. And for yourself as well, you know, yours was the same. It's like,
yeah, I was like,
and experiences.
yeah, a lot. And when you get shown who you've become, and you can feel who you've become as well, because it opens up your heart, the medicine. So all of a sudden you're seeing it, and I was like, oh my God, I could do so much better. This is very good. Like, this is so positive that I'm seeing this, because our ego self blindsides us. So a lot of people, most people are walking around on the planet thinking that they're nice and kind, but the ego kind of like goes over you and makes you think that you're kind and nice. And things that you do or say, or even the thoughts in your head about projecting and judging other people, all of a sudden I was seeing this and I was like, oh my God, I feel really sorry for the person that I've become. And it made me want to change. And that's the purpose of this intention, to help you change, to help you see the things that the ego's been hiding you in the 3D matrix system. And in this ceremony, your whole being is opening up to a higher frequency, and you're kind of looking at yourself from a higher perspective, like on top of the mountain, as your higher self, and you're seeing all of the things that you've become and how you got there. And that can be very overwhelming seeing this. Don't get me wrong, it's very beautiful, but it's very shifting, because all of a sudden you're like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be like that anymore, you know? And you make a change, because you can't unsee what you get shown. And that's the purpose of this. That's how we make the change.
Yeah. So this show me who I've become intention is one which gives you a beautiful place to start working on. But I'm going to loop back to this, because once you get to the next intention, because you've got to get yourself healed first, merge me back with my soul at all costs. Like, merge me back, help me connect back to who I really am. And this is where you really start to, like, it's one thing to intellectually understand, I'm a soul down here on earth having a human experience, just occupying this body. It's one thing to kind of know that intellectually, but when you feel it, it's getting chills again talking to you guys about this. So when you really feel it and you know it, when you merge back with your soul, guys, you realize that all the stuff that happened in intention one of show me who I've become, you see how your soul chose it before you came in. And I don't want to blow you away with profound, but it's like profound. Like, when you merge back with your soul, you realize all of that stuff isn't just random. Chills again as I'm saying it to you over and over. I know I'm on fire today with that. But it's like, really, it's not random. That stuff, you might think, oh my gosh, why me? I've had such a rotten hand dealt to me in life, and this sucks, right? Beforehand. And once you really connect with show me who I've become, and you merge back with your soul, you get this all of a sudden realize it's like, I'm in here having a soul experience. These lessons have actually been a blessing, not a curse. And you move into this beautiful, profound. And as you move through that one, you get to this beautiful heal my heart. And the healing of the heart is just such a beautiful gift. Perhaps you could share your dog experience, the birthday cake, you.
Oh, yeah.
Heart.
So this was night 3 for me, healing my heart, and I actually ended up being outside grounding outside of the Maloka, which is the healing space, with the on-site dog that lives there. And I was cuddling the dog under my blanket on the grass for the evening and having my psychedelic journey there. And the shaman's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm really good. It's like, don't move me, I'm good. And the dog was like comforting me. It was very bizarre. But then all of a sudden, mother, when I healed my heart, because when you're healing your heart, you deep in, for me, the purge for me is crying. So I've never once spewed on the medicine over my 18 journeys. I've had a tiny little spew, but that was it, right? So a lot of people are afraid of doing the medicine because, oh, what if I spew or poop or whatever?
The poop the pants is the big one.
Yeah, they're
That's
afraid,
the big
but
scared. But
it's a beautiful healing circle, and everyone loves each other. You're dropped into your heart. So for me, I'm laying on the grass with the puppy under the blanket, healing my heart, and And mother gave me my first birthday cake. So I merged with my soul, and I had my rebirth of my first birthday. And there was a dog in my psychedelic or I was seeing the dog with a party hat on in the psychedelic, and we're both eating cake together for my first birthday. It was pretty remarkable. But when I first got shown my heart, I realized how, pretty awful and cold and dark it was. So mother ayahuasca, she took me down into my heart and I was inside of a room in my psychedelic journey, and I was seeing dark shadows, and it was cold in there. Like I was all of a sudden very cold. And on the exterior, of course, I had the dog keeping me warm in a blanket, but in my psychedelic, I was feeling cold. But she was showing me how I felt in my heart. Not much love internally, firstly with myself. I didn't really love myself, and I didn't feel love from my parents either. And my life, I wasn't really fulfilled. I was working and hustling very hard at the time to have material items fulfill me, but it still wasn't warming my heart. It was just an intellect thought that was making me happy. So when I went into the room of my heart, even there was like a garden bed, and there was all weeds in the garden inside of my heart. And I was like, oh my God, there is so much pain in here. So 6 hours outside crying my little heart out to get to that birthday cake. I was very deserving of my cake after I'd done that healing that time. And don't get me wrong, there's always more that comes over the next few journeys that we did with the medicine. There was more in my heart, because what I realized is our heart is so infinitely deep. So deep that it would blow your mind how deep your heart is. And we are like sponges. We draw all of every single situation in our lifetime, in our timelines in. So this lifetime, past lifetime, galactic lifetime, it's all stored in the heart. So if you're disconnected from your heart, you don't have all your tools or your gifts, your abilities, your education from your soul. Right? So the key is to heal my heart. And this is a very powerful intention, because on night 4, this is night 3 what they recommend to use. By night 4, if you haven't finished the first 3 intentions, you've still got another night to clean everything up if you didn't get there. So let's say you didn't merge with your soul or heal your heart on the nights, because they might have needed a little bit more of letting go, and that happens. And night 4 is also working with all of the intentions, okay?
And before we go to that, I wanted to show this here. This is this sets the scene, right? This is the room. Those are the mattresses, right? You got your little, your section, your area. The shaman are up the other end. And my goodness, this room, even just looking at this slide.
You see there's little buckets at the end of everyone's bed in case you have to, have a little
get well.
Getting well.
So look, before the ayahuasca ceremony, we clean up the diet, okay? And we're still eating food, but you're just cutting out all the things that that you probably shouldn't eat so much of beforehand anyway, right? So really what that means is we're just eating more salads and vegetables, clean fish and chicken, and, just skipping the pizza, the alcohol, the soda, soft drinks, sweets, that sort of thing.
Sugar in your coffee, and also coffee to be deleted as well, if you can.
Oh, I was having less coffee, and I like a sugar in it. It's just not the same. So,
Pete likes his sugar.
I'm pretty good at the rules, but some things, hey, it's like if I get in trouble, oh well. Mother ayahuasca, she's pretty fair.
Yeah.
She lets me go on that one.
Another good thing to detox is called a colon cleanse, where we call it kind of like poo juice, and we mentioned this in the movie that we just recently made. And it's where you put powder in a water and you do like a 2-week detox where it's cleaning the inside of your colon out. And so this is really important if you've never cleaned out your rubbish bin, right? So it's like cleaning and pulling the inside of the colon, all of the built up over your lifetime out. And this way, when you go into a medicine journey, your vessel is clean and clear to receive the medicine. Because what the medicine does is it's like a fork. It goes through every single cell, every organ of your body, and shows you if there's any imperfections, okay, inside of the body.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is the more I respected the detox before the ceremony, the more properly hydrated I was, like well rested, fit, healthy, clean, the stronger I was through the whole ceremony. So that does make a difference. The word Maloka is just the room for their temple. Their beautifully architecturally designed room, their temple space that all of the ceremonies take place in. What can you expect in the Maloka? We're all having our own journey. So for couples, they encourage you to be on the opposite side of the room, so to speak, to your partner, if you're there with your partner, because it's your journey and you're not there to hold space for them or anyone else. Mother Ayahuasca is all about you. So you're there having your own experience. I love the line that they teach you beforehand. They say comparison is the thief of your experience. So in other words, your experience is unique to you. It's not necessarily the same as everyone else's. So what you can expect in there is your experience. It's you meeting Mother Ayahuasca, like the grandmother. Like now I smile when Mother comes in. It had been a long time and I was lying there, and it doesn't take very much medicine for me anymore. One of the things I've noticed in the beginning, I had to drink more. Now I don't need very much at all. In fact, I could probably get a sniff of it and almost feel like she's in and around. It's like, as Bashar talks about, it is a permission slip. It is a way for you to actually get into the code of your soul, your spirit, your mind, body, spirit complex, and to heal. So the shaman sets the space up to be a beautiful sacred space. That's their role. And through this beautiful ritual and these carefully selected shaman, isn't it beautiful? So this is just recently, last October, right? Recent. That is the same shaman that Roxy and I sat with 4 years previous, who did the blessing on our wedding anniversary on that night 4. It was the same guy, Mitra, that's his name. Yes. So I showed him the pictures from 4 years previous, and he smiled and laughed. He goes, "How was it?" And I told him, "Look, it's changed our life. We've gone on to do this and do that." And he was shocked. He looked at me and he went, "So you've listened to the medicine?" I said, "We listened to the medicine. We took the guidance." One of the intentions I set was show me what my potential is, show me what I'm capable of. And that's what Roxy and I have done from 4 years ago to now with Awakening Education, and with us sharing this information about, awakening and healing and being happier and being a better version of yourself. Like all of that was shown to me 4 years ago on that night 4, and I shared that with this same shaman, and he was like touched to realize, what a significance that had made. Music plays a beautiful role in the ceremony. One of the many tips my brother gave me was, one of the tips was, all the magic happens when your eyes are closed. So you don't drink the medicine and sit there and start looking around the room at everyone else and how they're going. "Oh, I reckon that guy there's going to have a hard time. Oh my gosh, I love there. She looks like she's ready to, oh gosh, she got the sweat." Like, mind your own business. I don't look around at all. I actually go in there now, fluff up my pillow, pull up the blanket, wait for the music to start, and when the medicine starts to take effect on you, it's like it amplifies what's going on in the room. So the sound of the voices, the sound of the guitar, the little rattles and the different shuffling of the leaves. And oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
The senses get turned up. So you're very sensitive to light. So there's no light in the room.
Yeah.
Okay. And noise, everyone, it's a noble silence. As soon as we drink the medicine, no one's to talk to anyone, not even whispering to your neighbor. You can speak with the shaman, and that's it. If you're having a hard time, you go up to the shaman at the front here and you ask and you let them know what's going on with you, and they will help you. But other than that, no talking, because the senses are so high and we don't want to interrupt someone else's journey. If they're deep in something and get brought out because you're talking, it's going to interrupt their healing process.
There's approximately 6 or 8 shaman in the room. So there's the lead shaman who actually is running the ceremony. And then depending on the number of the people, it's like you've got one shaman who checks on you throughout the night, coming over, just checking how you're going. Often they're going, get up and have another cup. They really push you to drink more medicine, to get the experience. Because I can tell you, like, once you get in there and you have it, it's like you may as well go all in. That's what I feel now. I often find, even though I've done it many times, it's like when I'm in the experience and it's going well and my mind's going, I think you've had enough, Pete. I listen to their guidance and they go, have another cup or half a cup or whatever it is, to help you to really get into like that experience deep. I recommend what to wear is, the medicine influences your body's ability to regulate its temperature. So often what I find is I get hot majority of the time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
You get hot.
So the first time I went, I had like a washer. I brought a washer and I was like taking it to the bathroom and wetting it and putting it on me, because the medicine is heating you up to clear out the density out of your cellular structure. So you can get quite hot. You can get the sweats. Pete's dad shakes crazy. That's his way of purging. Some people are throwing up. Some people are crying, yawning. Some people are laughing. I've had that one where I was just like laughing and the shaman's like, after, half an hour, the shaman's shush, 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 because you don't want to interrupt the room, but that is a way of a purge. So just being mindful how loud that is or whatnot with other people in the room. But what to wear, Pete's wearing his psychedelic shirt. Night 4 was kind of like party night, because you've done a lot of work until then everyone's a bit more relaxed. And I think it was just like anyone could just look at his shirt and feel like they're on an ayahuasca journey without taking any medicine. But yeah, we find that some people are wearing white to ceremony. And loose clothing. You want to be in loose, comfortable clothing. Like I thought I was going to wear just a pair of, workout tights, but it was actually too tight around my waist as a female, and I wanted to be free. So I ended up taking them off, and the room's dark. You're under a blanket, and so just wearing something like more loose and comfortable is probably recommended in our experience.
That, though.
And I put them back on, of course. But I had a dress, and I had
just sitting there in your knickers, though.
No, but I had a dress on, and I thought I'd need like my tights. When you haven't done the medicine before, I was thinking, is my legs gonna flop around? Like, what's gonna happen, right? So it's like I realized that I was fine. The medicine lays you down, and you're not sideways in that regard. Yeah. So what to wear is probably white. A lot of people at Rhythmia wear white to ceremony. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we are going back to Rhythmia this year on the 20th of October. So the retreat that we go to Rhythmia. And the reason why we recommend Rhythmia, is because it's where we went, and it's very comfortable. Okay, so we could have gone to Costa Rica to the jungle and sat in a hut and got bitten by mosquitoes or whatnot. And, where we're at, we like comfort. We like to go back to an air-conditioned room. It gets too hot otherwise. And, the facilities here, the education program at Rhythmia is very supportive to your journey. There is a lot of support. There are a lot of great touch points. The shamans are very experienced and well-trained, okay? The hotel staff are well-trained to do their jobs. and create a really amazing space for you. So we're going back the 20th of October. Pete and I are not charging, like the retreat is not something that we're earning from, okay? It's a 7-day healing retreat with 4 ayahuasca ceremonies in a row through that period. And we're simply going to be boots on the ground there, okay? So we're going to be a familiar face. Rhythmia is in charge of the money, concierge, the courses, the coaching, everything like that is inside of Rhythmia. The medicine has strictly advised that Rhythmia is to take care of you when you're there, okay? So we're simply going to be a familiar face. There's a lot of people that said to us, I'm so scared, I wouldn't want to do it with like people that I don't know. So they were very pleased to hear that we were going and they would be a familiar face. So that's what happened last time in October. And that's why we're opening this kind of information and education out to you guys so you know where to go. And it's a well-trusted, approved, high-quality place to receive the medicine. We've heard of many stories of people taking the medicine spontaneously in a friend's house in California or wherever around the world and having a pretty bad experience. And it's important to us that if you are entering into this space, that you're well educated and you know where to go that's safe. And this is why we're recommending Rhythmia, okay? It is of the higher end, okay? But this is life-changing. It's like, you know, you'll buy a car for yourself, right? That costs a lot of money. But are you willing to, you know, go and spend some money on your soul? This is life-changing, this work that you're doing. And 4 nights in a row is key. You could go to California to your friend's house to do 1-night ceremony and be like, oh yeah, not for me. Done that, tried that. Yeah, wasn't for me. You didn't even crack yourself open. So the beauty of going to Rhythmia and doing it 4 nights in a row and switching off from the matrix world with their support like activities is very healing. It's a very deep week, right? You will expect massive change in your life when you go and do this 4 nights in a row.
And let me reiterate, it's not easy. You've done 2 nights and you got to go night 3. The last thing you feel like doing is walking into that room and having another cup of that crap. You know, it's like, fuck, I'm done. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. You look at one another and you go, holy shit, I just don't think I can do it again tonight. It's like, I've had enough lessons. Yeah, I'd rather just, you know, sit up in bed and watch a movie, have a cup of tea and, you know, let it all settle in. You're like, your mind's trying to get you out of it. And you drag yourself in there, get yourself up, you drink your medicine, and she's going to give you another gift. Like you do, like you get gifts. She gives you beautiful gifts, knowings, that sort of thing. It's like amazing, beautiful. So this is the Pete and Roxy weekend. We've deliberately chosen a weekend where there's nothing going on at Rhythmia, so to speak. So let me just let you know. Sometimes they might have Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul, or they might have Michael Beckwith from Agape Church there, or they might have all sorts of people. Kelly Slater, the surfer, goes there and is a guest sometimes and does a little talk. A lot of other spiritual type people. Pretty sure Greg Braden's been through there. Names, people, and it can get busy. When my brother went the first time, he said there was like 80 people in the room. First time Roxy and I went, there was about 50, 60, something like that. Last time we went, there was about 40.
No, 30.
30 something. We got to know every single person's name.
We got very good support from the shamans. It was fantastic.
You get to know everyone's name. It's really beautiful. And we've chosen that weekend where there's nothing on, so to speak, in terms of a guest, etc. But the real guest is Mother. Mother Ayahuasca is where the real magic happens. And the classes and the guidance from the team at Rhythmia, the doctors, the nurses, the support staff, they're all there. And that's what makes it so magic and wonderful. So there's our little hut. That's my kind of hut. I tell you what, when you've been sweating and whatever for 4 hours or whatever it is. You drink medicine at about 7 o'clock at night, and they're starting to wrap things up at about 1 a.m.
Or if you're still
approximately.
going, there's sometimes an after party in the Maloka where the shamans will sing and play music if you're not quite ready to go back to your own room. But they've also got beautiful golf carts to drive you home if you can't walk or feeling a little bit spaced out. That is what they're there for. This is the care that they are, what you are buying when you go to this retreat, okay?
Yeah, and it's like, I want a hot shower and a cold aircon and soft bed to get me strong for the next day. Swim in the pool, all those things, beautiful meals, all the things, guys, like, you know, that you would expect. And then day to day, there are more things to help you through your process, right? So yoga, the breath work, the guided meditations, all just so wonderful.
So
all included. So
yeah.
all of that is included in there. I tell you what, doing breath work when you've done a couple of nights of ayahuasca beforehand, oh my goodness, like I've done some good breath work, but holy heck, when the medicine's still in your system and you do the breath work, next level.
People have big breakthroughs in the breath work. So it's important, if you are looking to do this, participating in the additional activities is going to help your breakthrough. Some people merge back with their soul in yoga. Like Pete's brother did Kundalini, had a Kundalini awakening day one, hadn't even drunk any medicine, was in yoga, completely flipped out on the floor. And it was perfect for him because he didn't want to feel embarrassed or humiliated in front of everyone. So what does the medicine do before he's even in there? He takes yoga class and passes out in front of everyone. Well, he got over that lesson quickly. Everyone knew him by the end and he had to move through that emotional injury, right? So everything's divinely set up when you sign up for this retreat. There's a dance of liberation, which is just beautiful. At the kind of end of the week, you're setting yourself free in this way. You can also expect some facilities like mud baths, hot saunas, gyms, jacuzzis, colonics, and a beautiful massage while you're there. And there's also a doctor and medical team on site, okay? So you'll go through an induction process when you first get to Rhythmia to make sure that you're feeling okay. If you have any questions about or concerns about your health and the medicine, there's support here at Rhythmia for that. They've set it up really well, so you feel safe. Okay, so if through the medicine journey you're not feeling well, they call the doctor into the ceremony space to talk to you. Okay, this is important that the guests are feeling safe from the 3D perspective as well as the shamans, rituals.
Particularly there when they ask you for information, they're going to ask you about your blood pressure and they're going to ask you about your mental health history. So work on your blood pressure and your mental health history before you have the phone call, right? Because they ask you. I mean, mine, when I tested myself just before the call, mine was high. I was like, far out. My blood pressure's high. So, and I'd had 2 cups of coffee and I was working and worried about stuff and like life. So before I went more recently, I particularly worked on my health and I cut out coffee and I cut out drinking and I started deliberately exercising more and sailed through. No blood pressure issues. But I just want to share that with you guys. It was like something I needed to put some effort into. So what you share with them does influence whether they're going to let you sit or not. Like if your blood pressure's too high, for example, then they'll talk to you about how you're going to be able to work on getting that down, or etc., because they want to look after you. Next slide.
So the shamans that are chosen at Rhythmia are well trained and have been doing this for a very long time. Okay, they come from the Colombian jungle and they're trained by their ancestors. And these gifts, this is Tata. His father actually handed him. He started drinking the medicine when he was 7 years of age in the jungle, right? So he's about our age and he's well experienced and works with the medicine. That's his mission this lifetime, to bring the medicine from the jungle with the right settings to the West for the healings. There's support classes every single morning. So you might think, how the heck am I going to get up for a 9 o'clock class after a big night on the medicine? Well, you do, and you get there and you get an opportunity to speak and feel supported by the teachers there in order to process what the heck just happened last night, right? And you will be with your brothers and sisters in this space that are all feeling the same, because you're cracking your soul open on a very deep energetic level, right? And Rhythmia also pick you up from the airport. There's a shuttle service if you're feeling called to the medicine and doing this retreat. You fly into Liberia Airport, and Liberia is the closest one to Rhythmia. There's obviously other airports, but Liberia, we catch the California to Liberia, and we fly sometimes with Alaska. There's other options though. And we generally arrive on the Sunday, the 20th, because then we'd check out on the Sunday, and we have a few days to like integrate the medicine before having to travel on an aeroplane. The first time we did it, we raced back home straight to our kids, and it was an intense trip home. You know, you're going back into the matrix. You've just like seen behind the veil, gone very deep into yourself. And then so it's important to have a couple of days to integrate and have that space after. Okay. So yeah, these are the things that are all included. This is also on our website, and you can contact, the price is starting from 5,000, okay, to go to the retreat. This is paid directly to Rhythmia, not to us, all right? So if you're feeling called, you can connect with Daniel at Rhythmia. He's our concierge. He knows that people might be calling, and I'll be sending you all an email with this link. You book a time to get a quote, understand more details, and go directly to Rhythmia. If you're not moving through Pete and Roxy or Awakening Education for the retreat, it's all to be done through Rhythmia.
So okay. What influences the price is just which room you choose. Pretty much as simple as that. If you do a shared room, it's cheaper than being a single person in your own room. As I said, by the end of the program, like through the end of the week, we like knew everyone's name. Everyone had come together as a family. It was like it was beautiful, very safe where the retreat is. It's like gated and safe, so you don't have to worry about that. I would recommend the shuttle. The first time we did it, we organized a driver ourselves. You know what happens when you do that in a country like that? The driver gets lost and they don't know where they're going. And it's like, oh my God, I did that to save $100. It's like, I should have just paid them, So you see the plus there, that's little things like that, whether you want the shuttle. Interestingly, the other plus is they want to, you to pay for the actual medicine itself in physical cash, which is a very interesting thing, but that's what that other plus is.
It's shamans.
Yeah, I don't know. The shamans love cash, right? Oh, I don't know. That's not true. I'm just joking. But they do. They want that part paid in cash.
Yeah.
How much? It's 140.
Yeah.
I think it's $140 for the actual medicine itself. Which I know it's random, I'm just telling you, that's the other little plus thing there when I'm sharing that with you. So when you get interested, it's important for you to make sure you land on the right weekend if you want to be there with us and, with the community and that sort of thing.
And, it might not, maybe it's not right this year, it could be next year, but for now, this is when we're going. And you'll have a familiar face. We're also offering some preparation classes and an integration class if you are looking to come to the medicine. And that would be coaching through Pete and myself. So we'd join on Zoom. Once you commit to the medicine, you'll notice that your energy is starting to unravel quite rapidly. It's like as soon as you put your deposit down or pay, it's like the medicine weaves her way in. You start seeing snakes, because that's how sometimes the Amazon will come to you. You might see cheetahs, animal prints, zebras, or like these Amazon like animals. Like seriously, it comes to you. When we signed up, I saw like 3 snakes physically. The medicine comes to you. It's very powerful. And so the support before and then after you go on this week is important, because 50% of the work is done at the retreat and 50% of the work is done in the integration. Did you learn how to talk to yourself nicely? Did you learn how to not judge the person? Or like the unraveling and the layers of your density is still going to be working with you for up to like 9 weeks after you take the retreat. So it's important not to go home and like crack a beer and drink it down or go out partying, because the medicine is still working with you. You're still very delicate. And what happens is the medicine makes you soft, because when you're vulnerable, there's deep shifts that happen. You're not in your big, strong power, ego, control phase, right? You're soft, you're delicate, you might cry. You might cry at a beautiful plant or an animal. You think, oh, what's going on with me? Well, this is your true self coming through. It's like an open wound. You're in a healing phase. And so in the integration, we have to make sure that we're integrating this medicine on what we've learned. It's important. And that's when you have the breakthrough. When you integrate correctly, that's when the shifts happen. So afterwards, it's important to have support. And we're offering a three pack of support if you feel that call.
So some people are just happy, like, righto, let's do it. Can't wait for October. I'm going to start, doing my thing and do it all. Sit through the sessions, do it all, love it. Can't wait to do ayahuasca. There are a lot of people very much like myself. When I was talking about my conversations with Dan, it's like when I decided I was going 2 months beforehand, every weekend, I wanted to go to my brother's place, have a barbecue and talk about medicine. What about this? What about that? What happens if I wake up? When am I allowed to pee? What happened? Like, I'm asking questions like, sorry, but if I need to fart, should I risk it or should I go to the bathroom? Right? Sorry, boy questions. But it's like things like that. Well, and the answer is don't risk it. Go to the bathroom. Right? But it's like things like that, and like I took a second pair of underwear and shorts because I was worried that I might have an accident. I have never even nearly done that, just letting you know. And a lot of people go, oh, I could never do it because I hate to spew, or, I would be mortified if I was, to have a toilet accident. It doesn't happen as much as the stories you hear.
Yeah.
People just like sharing those stories because they're funny. Well, I think they're funny.
Yeah.
And we joke around with it. And
if anything does happen, the shaman will just take you back to your room and you just get changed and you come back. It's no big deal. They are fully like the most beautiful helpers and most patient people on this earth, right? They're beautiful. They're here for the healings. They love you. It's not like the 3D world. This is like very supportive and loving, something that most of us haven't received before. So it is probably going to be the most extraordinary trip, if you did take it, ever in your life.
Yeah, the full metamorphosis, as Roxy put here on this slide. It's like you really do, and I'm not going to say I was a grub beforehand, but it was like beforehand, I could have done so much more. And remember, I shared with you, I set that for my intention on night 4. Show me what I'm capable of. Like, show me what my purpose is. And now 4 years later, I'm moving more and more in that direction. And what she shows me more and more, she keeps going, got to open your heart more, Pete, open your heart more. I'm thinking, I'm doing as much as I can. She's like, you got to do it more, right? It's like continuing to encourage us and to sort of expand, because the medicine really does show us that underneath it all, we are really connected. And, guys, if you're on this call, if you're drawn to the medicine and healing and being the best version of yourself, chances are you're an old soul. Chances are you've done this before. And like this soul family word, it would relate. Like young souls that are just down here on earth, checking out what it's like to be human and having a young soul experience. they're probably not going to do ayahuasca. They're probably not going to search for the deeper meaning of things to grow and elevate as a soul. They're just not ready for that yet. Like we would have done that at some stage, but now we are at this point in this lifetime. It's like, I'm thinking about ascension. I'm thinking about the shift in consciousness on the planet and helping to facilitate that. And this tool is a magnificent way to be able to do that. The other tool I would recommend, and I know we've got so much going on, but Roxy and I are starting our galactic training course on Monday in Australia, so next week. And many of you would know it's on, you're on our mailing list, but that course has what we learned from applying 4 years of medicine to our life. Like after medicine, we came up with this and we apply this still to this day. And there are many people here on this call who have done that course or, you know, who are doing it next time. I've seen the names of the people coming up and Louise and Angela and Shane and etc. And I've got Jimmy coming up next time. And like in those 8 sessions that we take you through, we're talking about going within, merging with your soul and healing your heart and clearing a lot of that stuff out so that when you then do Mother Ayahuasca, when you have that experience, it's like you move into understanding this. You know, you see the infinite creator in everything. You start to see how the show me who I've become in intention 1, you can let go of and move into healing your heart, merging back with your soul. And then this is how it helps you to see the shirt, right? Raise your vibration and then connect more to higher vibrational beings and consciousness and your own higher self, which is there to guide you through your life. So if you've got any personal questions, you can reach out to us right now in the chat box, put any quick questions out there, or of course, send us an email if you want to let all of this sort of settle and you may have a question or a thought come to you. And guys, we're looking forward to sharing this experience with you, whoever it may be. And I tell you what, once you've gone through 4 nights of ayahuasca together, it's you bond in a way that is really unique. It's something that is just so very, very special. And it's almost like in a way you feel that soul connection of like soul family or done this before. And it's just truly beautiful, truly beautiful. So I'm not seeing any questions, which is excellent news for Roxy and myself.
How bad does it taste? It's got a familiar taste and it's thick.
Familiar.
Well, when you sniff it, you're like, oh, that smell again. But for the first time, it's hard to get down. It is. And you're drinking vine, like you're drinking the jungle, but it's like thick. It'd be like, what could you say it'd be like?
Yeah, Angela there, molasses. Yeah. It's like off fruit. It's like fruit that's kind of off a bit and it's sweet. A lot of people I noticed last time shared it's not as bad as they thought it was. It's kind of like the more you drink it, in my experience, the worse it tastes. Like I'm not getting used to it. Like on night 4, I turned around after 1 cup and I was walking back going, oh my goodness. It's like, whoa, you know, I was done with it. But it was interesting. It's like, as you get it in and you learn to sort of get it down, it moves. It's a weird feeling. It's like it moves through you. As it moves through to clear out any blocks, densities. We always notice after the ceremony, we look younger, feel fresher. So it's like a youth thing.
Yeah, take a photo before and then after ceremonies because you'll see a significant shift in the way you look. With the medicine, you need to fast before the medicine journey. So you would have breakfast and a light lunch, and then you wouldn't eat for 6 hours before ceremony. You can drink water and stay hydrated. And this is so you don't have food in your belly when you drink the medicine and there's a bit of a mess in the system, and the medicine can absorb into your system a lot easier than having to get through all of that food. So the diet is very important, because if you're eating light, you're going to be lighter, and you're going to have more clarity when it comes to moving through an emotion, for example, right? It's not going to be such heavy lifting. Through the ceremony, they recommend not to drink water, only to have little sips. So when you drink the medicine and you go back to your mattress, what I do is I just put a little bit of water in my mouth, wash my mouth out and into the bucket, but I don't drink the water, because it'll make the water, it'll mix with the medicine, and they don't recommend that. So if you do need to drink through the ceremony, you just have a tiny little sip, not a guzzle.
Yeah, and I see Katie's question here. You would say to Daniel that you'd like to share a room with someone from the Pete and Roxy group.
Yeah.
Because there will be other people there that weekend who don't even know about Pete and Roxy. You understand? So there'll be some of us, and I guess they're going to come in eventually to work out what's going on. But you can request with Daniel to share with someone from the group, because chances are, right, you're going to get a like-minded soul.
But just trust that whoever you're sharing with is perfect for you. And remember, everyone's your brother and sister from source. So whoever's in your room is perfect for you. Whether or not that person triggers you or not, you're going to work it out in the medicine journey, and then surrender to whatever that was, right? But it's really good to have a person when you share a room, because if you're needing to talk and debrief, you've got someone to share that with. If you're going alone, this is a very good opportunity for you to have someone to share a room with, right? Because it's like, well, you got a little buddy to cruise with. And it's very good. Like everyone that's coming, don't worry. They're there because they are light workers. They want to do the healing, right? And when you meet people and you sit in ceremony with everyone, they're going to be lifetime buddies. Like seriously. Like this is a deeper level of connection than your family, your friends. When you go into a ceremony, it's like going into battle. You'll never forget it. It's beautiful. And our beautiful sister Angela's on the call. She's in Bali at the moment. She's sat with us. She's been a true warrior doing the medicine, going to Peru. She's also sat with us and done the medicine and ceremony, and is doing great work. And she's just been of service today, replying to you all while we're presenting. So thank you, Angela, for doing that. And yeah, we are excited for you guys. We're very grateful that you've all come today to listen to this, and thank you for opening your heart to the medicine, to the mother, to the deeper healings and the mysteries of this universe. We are here because it's the Great Awakening. So it's not a coincidence that you've all come today. Your higher selves dragged you here to inquire, because you're curious, because there is more for you. There is more. This is an infinite, expansive journey, and it always blows our mind. Like the medicine, this life, the ascension. Like who would have thought we all be here in these bodies, here for the greatest show that has never happened before. The time of age of love is here. So us as light warriors have to clean ourselves and clear the emotional trauma. And this is like getting in a slingshot, doing the medicine, and going straight up to the top of the mountain. You know, this is not like a fast track, but it is kind of, but it's rapid. And so once you say yes to this, it's going to start working with you. You can, of course, go around the mountain on the tracks for a few years and go. Everyone eventually gets there. But the medicine is like getting in a slingshot and taking you straight up there. Right?
Definitely be the most profound thing I've done in my spiritual awakening journey. And I was awake before the medicine, but doing the medicine cracked me open and just showed me my stuff quickly. Night one, bang, this is all. And you kind of know, you think you know it in your head, but I tell you, when you feel it in your heart, it's that next level connection. So look, if we can help in any way, if people feel like they want extra help, extra guidance, etc., that offer is there. Daniel from Rhythmia is expecting to hear from you guys. We don't know how many people are already booked for that weekend. So it's going to be in a first first in, best dressed, so to speak. So even if you're not 100% sure, I think if you connect in with Daniel and register your interest, you go on the list and he will hold you a seat. And of course, if something comes up or you change your mind or et cetera, then you can always let them know, because often what happens is they do tend to fill up pretty quickly.
And there's a discount if you mention Pete and Roxy. I think it's like $500 off.
$500 discount if you mention Pete and Roxy's group. And anything else that we can do in the background trying to help the group, we will.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. So there might be other little things along the way, but we're not exactly sure. They're not tied down yet, but we're still trying to work out things for the group itself at Rhythmia, because we're looking forward to sharing lunches and stories and adventures with you guys.
So yeah, so thanks for coming. Look out for our email. We're going to email you a couple of links, the link to Daniel, the concierge guy at Rhythmia, and also our support group. So feel free to check those links out. Make sure you check your spam, because sometimes our emails go in there. And yeah, we'll email you everything. We'll also email you a recording of this class today, so you can go back and listen to it if you feel like you need more clarity. We'll
probably put it on YouTube as well. So if you haven't added Pete and Roxy on YouTube, or what do you call it? Subscribe is an ad, but the same thing, right? You subscribe, you add, and any other videos we do about medicine, etc., between now and then, we will be putting on our YouTube channel. So most of the good information goes on that channel. Guys, thanks for coming along. I appreciate your comments, appreciate the energy of the group. It's just so exciting to connect with, especially a lot of these people I've never seen before. I don't know how you found us, but it's wonderful to connect with you guys, and we'll stay in the loop with you guys too. You know, Roxy and I go live every second week in our private group, which is called Galactic Ambassadors. So if you want to find out more about that, there's a link to that on our website as well, where we keep shining the light and helping you guys. So mention, oh, that's a good thing. Mention unified, mention what are the keywords?
You can
Pete and Roxy. Yeah. All of that sort of thing as well. Just so Daniel knows. Yep. All right, guys, we got to run as well. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys. Sending you all many blessings and love. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions.
Bye, team.
Bye.